This is the kickoff to a new series. We did elk. We had Joe in the hot seat. And I figured now it's time to talk deer. So particularly, how do you take the skills you have in the whitetail woods to a new state? And most importantly, how do you take those and then find success? So this will, play for a lot of the out-of-state travel type hunts, but it'll also hopefully help people that are just hunting in their backyards or finding new spots. So I have you here because you and I have spent a lot of time hunting all over the place. So let's start, most importantly, like fundamental, like why are we talking about whitetail deer?
Really, to be honest, I mean, that's really the only thing I've ever done. It's something we've grew up on ever since we were able to even hunt. Like you're out with dad deer hunting. So it's kind of just our bread and butter. It's what we know. It's what we know the most of. Right, I'm not going to give you a detailed hunt of when I went out elk hunting at all, or the best places to go in Colorado. Like I just don't know that. So like, deer hunting is the majority of my hunting experiences.
Yeah. See, it's the most fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I do, and we get a lot of questions from people in this Great Lakes kind of area about deer hunting, and yeah, we just feel like that's a good niche that we're in.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. I obviously look forward to going west and everything else, but there's something about October 1 that's rolling around, getting trail cameras out and just kind of putting the puzzle together in your own backyard is pretty cool. So yeah, and we go out of state a lot for that. And so when we're going out of state, let's start big picture.
Sure.
Zoomed out, you're planning to head out of state. Where do you go? Like, how do you know where to go?
Really, I think before you even start thinking that way, you really want to focus in on what do you want to go and do?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to go and do a whitetail or a mule deer spot and stalk out in the plains? Do you want to go hunt big woods? Do you want to just hunt in ag fields like a lot of people do? I mean, we've got a trip planning that we're doing right now. We wanted to really focus on like river bottoms. It's really a cool hunt we wanted to go try. So now we're focusing on, like a river float. Where can we go on a river on some public land and focus that experience on what we want to do?
Yeah. I feel like it's some of the most fun part of planning, just kind of like what's the ideal hunt look like, and then you just kind of build it by where you go and what time you go. Quick shout out to another amazing sponsor of ours, Kifaru International. If you're like us and love hunting in some of the toughest places, you know how crucial having the right gear is. Kifaru makes some of the toughest, most reliable backpacks and tents out there, and it's all made right here in America. Whether you're hunting in the backcountry or headed to your favorite deer stand, Kifaru has you covered. Keep your eyes out this year, especially as they're launching a ton of amazing new products like the new Arc frame that just came out. So next time you gear up for an adventure, make sure to check out Kifaru International. Okay, so say you pick terrain, you probably next move to like what state you go to?
Yeah, well, you can focus on states. You can start playing the game of where you really want to focus in on the most dense population of deer. Or if you want to focus in on, I want to hunt the state with the biggest Pope and Young harvest count.
Yeah.
You start with that and then you kind of start broadening off of actually what you want to do.
I think you're absolutely right. It's like, you go by state, you look at things like some states are a draw. So like Iowa, which I just started putting in points for.
You should. That's right. Stuff you need to plan for. Like most people don't realize that.
Yeah. And everybody assumes whitetail are like, big game Western, you need to do it for like mule deer and elk. But there are some, Kansas and, Iowa and things like that. Here in Michigan, it's just kind of, you go out and you can hunt. But there are definitely some non-over-the-counter tags. So we've got state level picked. We've got kind of terrain. I would imagine probably price would affect your decision. A lot of these guys that are going out are like, price, is that in consideration for you?
Yeah, I mean, price is going to be a huge factor on your decision. You're not going to want to go and hunt, we'll say a Pope and Young bucks in $1,000 tag versus if you can get that same thing in a $500 tag. Like, obviously, you're going to go with a cheaper option. But no, different states have different prices for non-residents. I think here for Michigan, it's like, I'm going to say $300-400, but you start going out more west into Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, and you're talking, 6-7. I don't know what the prices are yet, but I mean, that's a huge factor. And a lot of these places too have lotteries. So even if you want to go that year, like you might still have to wait in another year to actually get that lottery pick and save up enough points.
OnX is the title sponsor of our podcast here at the Fair Chase, and it's a must-have app for all of us who love to explore the outdoors. Whether you're hunting or hiking or fly fishing, OnX gives you detailed, accurate maps right at your fingertips. With property boundaries, topographical features, and trail data, you'll always know where you are and where you're headed. You'll also likely be able to figure out where that big buck is headed to. Plus, their offline maps mean you're covered even in the most remote locations. OnX is the ultimate tool for outdoor navigation, making every adventure safer and more enjoyable. Download OnX today and explore with confidence. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Like Nebraska or, Illinois is fairly expensive, I know, but Wisconsin or like PA,
right,
generally less expensive. So something to consider. I mean, if you're going out of state, it's a whitetail hunt. It's a couple $100 difference. I mean, for the most part, it's like I would make that your determining factor, but it seems like something that, you should think about. All right. So then, how are you, Jared, picking the state you want to hunt?
Me personally?
Yeah. Like, what are some things you're thinking about?
I like to look at, I think I mentioned this before, but deer population in the area. I want to know, sometimes you can talk to the local DNR officers and get a good, harvest report from the previous year of how many bucks were maybe taken out of that area, or even maybe enough Pope and young bucks taken out of that area. And I kind of like to, maybe this is a little selfish, but I kind of like to get a little adventure factor.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to choose a state, like I want to know, like when we go and do this hunt, like what kind of adventure can I go on?
Right.
I don't like that.
No, it's exactly what I feel the same way. It's like, I would rather have something more action oriented, more like new and different and unique, than the thing that you can go in your backyard and do. Cause like, if that's the case, you can go do that too.
Right.
For me, I think sometimes, even just distance, it's like, we're in Michigan, if I can get a out of state tag in like Ohio, I can bomb down there a weekend and go scout, rather than if I'm going to Montana, which is a great whitetail state, kind of a sleeper, I think, state for deer, for whitetail deer, but it's a long enough drive where that's a different trip. Mm-hmm. You're right. This episode is also brought to you by 2O Gear, innovators in technical hunting clothing. 2O is a newer company. It's based right here in Michigan, and whether you're hunting elk in the mountains or chasing antelope in the plains or traipsing through swamps after that ruddy buck, 2O has you covered with premium jackets and pants, merino wool layers, everything you could possibly need to stay comfortable in the woods. Their products are engineered for functionality and durability, ensuring you stay protected in any conditions. Plus, their camo is really effective. We're big fans. So don't take our word for it, though. Go to 2ogear.com and check it out. Yeah, okay. So you mentioned looking at deer densities. Are you looking at like hunting pressure and things like that? How are you figuring that out?
Yeah, I mean, you generally want to go to a state that has the animal in high population. Like you're not going to go to Maine to hunt mule deer.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge factor to look at, but I mean, also look at hunter population per acre capita. Most of the times, if you go to the local DNR or just the government website of these states, you can get a pretty good idea of how many hunters were registered maybe in that county you're going to, or maybe one of your mapping apps like HuntWise or OnX or any of these other places sometimes have general data of the area.
Yeah, I look at those things too. Hunter numbers, ratios. Yeah, I've even gone, when I get past, the state level, I'll look at forums for different regions. Like, are people mentioning this, big chunk of public land that I'm looking at? And that can be good or bad. I've even looked at, and we've done this on some of our trips, like houses for sale in the area.
And look at their buck pictures.
And like, so a lot of times if they're selling, deer property, it's like they'll throw camera pictures up. And, that trip we did to Wisconsin a couple of years ago, you shot a buck, I think the first day. First sit.
Yeah, it was the first sit.
Yeah, was a lot of that. I'm looking at what's the local deer density and what's the population like, and the anecdotal stuff, like what are people taking pictures of deer too. All right, so we're going to end this episode off with the question of what is your favorite time to leave in a hunt? So like if you had to pick a time in the year to go as you're planning this, what are you picking?
You saying like time of the year? Like,
yeah, time of the hunting season.
It's got to be in the rut.
Yeah. What part of the rut?
I want to be in the stand first week in November. And that's kind of a cliche answer, but like I've shot my biggest buck on November 3rd, November 4th. Like it's just that time. I seem to get just cruising bucks all over the place on the trail cameras during that week. It's usually, right around that time is where everything just kind of pops.
Well, then there's a reason everybody talks about it. It's very fun.
Yeah, I'm going to. Or Halloween's fun too.
Halloween fun. You get the pre-rut in some areas. You'll see deer running around.
End of October, early November, right there.
Yeah. All right, so that's helpful. It's the big picture stuff. I think next episode, let's look into zeroing in an area, how you're finding and like zeroing in on a spot to actually hunt.